I'm Christian Abbott.
I'm Nathan Lavender.
I'm Sean Abbott.
And this is the Red Mist Podcast.
Hello, welcome to Season 3, Episode 1. The Trackhouse Racing #1 Advent Health Chevrolet of the Watermelon Man, Ross Chastain. Mm-hmm. There you go, Nate. You started the season off with NASCAR.
This is how you start a season, boys, right here with NASCAR.
Yeah. Third time's a charm. You finally get your wish.
You get your wish.
Let's go. Here it is. Go. February. I smell February.
Yeah. Well, we got to get through January first.
Yeah.
Then we'll think about February maybe. Oh, Indycar starts in February, right? End of the month?
March.
On the streets.
Hold on.
Wait, hang on. Sean, I think IndyCar marches in March.
No, it is March.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. Oh, no. When's the Thermal Club? $1 million event.
March.
Oh.
Yeah.
Boo.
I can't believe you gave that attention. Like,
I was reaching for anything, Nate, to bushwhack NASCAR. Yeah. But IMSA starts
in 18 days.
In 18 days, and actually the Creventic series.
I'm sorry. The Roar is in 18 days.
Right.
The Daytona 24 is in the 24.
The 24 hours of Dubai is canceled and got moved, right?
Yes.
But there's another race before it.
I'm sorry.
Chili Bowl?
The 6 Oh, yeah, the Chili Bowl's coming up.
I was thinking the 4 hours of Dubai for ALMS.
Asian Le Mans. That's coming up, too. Anyways,
that's in February.
We'll talk about that. Yeah. Anyways, on tonight's episode, I guess we'll just talk news. Things happened.
Nate did some racing.
Indoors?
Yes, I did. Sure did. Twice.
Wow.
Ooh. All right.
I know, crazy stuff from my end, but
crazy stuff.
It gets better, you know.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear some good bits, I promise.
So why don't we start? I'm gonna be honest with you. We're cruising into the end of the year. We had a situation here. We're in the area where Christian and I live, where we had a big storm and lost power. So couldn't do the final recording of the season. Last year, season 2.
It happens.
And I was hoping to talk the IndyCar debacle with the motors.
Oh, yeah.
And where IndyCar is going with that. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
But then, cruising into the end of the year, I'm like, the year can't end. There's been some notable people passing, Jimmy Buffett, stuff like that during the year. Mm-hmm. And then the last week of the year, it's like, what is it like? We're going to hit up motorsports?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, I know.
So it starts off with probably one of the legendary drivers / owners in NHRA, Don Schumacher, passing away. Mm-hmm. Now, he's been in the sport forever. Son Tony was multi-time champion. His team's a multi-time champion. He's built a huge conglomerate, Schumacher Electric. The guy, self-made man.
Again, Schumacher and NHRA, not F1.
Yeah, not F1. Just not wacky either. Mm. And also, so I'm like, that's a bummer. Mm. So, a couple days later, Roland Leong, the Hawaiian. Now, you guys don't probably know, but he was one of the top tuners in NHRA funny cars. Did a lot of work with Don Perdome, the Snake, and then went on and ran his own car, the Hawaiian, and he had some fantastic sponsorships. He brought to the shores the King Hawaiian Rolls as a sponsor. But the best one ever was when he landed the Hawaiian Punch sponsorship on his cars. It was fantastic. And he had some great drivers run for him. And the guy, amazing guy, ran his own shop. He, it just all came out of that culture of, NHRA and the West Coast and things like that. Especially when Podium started to make it big, and with the mongoose, Tom McEwen. So, so I'm like, oh man, that's just two greats in NHRA. And then boom, Gilles de Ferran.
I know.
56 years old, heart attack. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you talk about
way too early.
You talk about exactly, Nate. But you talk about bad things happening to a nice person.
Yeah,
this guy might have been one of the nicest guys in motorsports, but also everybody that gave a testament to him through, from Formula One to IndyCar to NASCAR to sports cars. Mm-hmm. I mean, couldn't say enough about the guy, and it's true. The guy was awesome. And he was helping McLaren out and stuff like that. And Alex Rossi had probably the best, response to it. And it's like, I have no words, just a tragic loss or something like that, to that effect. I mean, and it's true. The guy holds the fastest qualifying lap in an IndyCar at over 241 miles an hour. That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
He's won the Indy 500, two IndyCar championships.
Yeah.
So, and then New Year's Eve day, Cale Yarborough,
I know.
who was the first guy to qualify for the Daytona 500 at over 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
This is when they didn't have restrictor plates. This is when they were real cars. It's just like, he drove some classic cars, the Holly Farms cars for Junior Johnson, the Hardee's Chevrolets, the Bush beer car. It's awesome. So, it's a tough way to end the year. And on top of it, the whole thing started with Michael Schumacher. It was the 10th anniversary of his tragic accident. That, took, it's basically kept him sheltered for 10 years, obviously because we all know it's a pretty serious injury. Mm-hmm. It's just, what a bummer of a way to end the year. Mm-hmm. Anyways, now we're on the 2024. And, I
look forward.
Yeah, we look forward, but I thought, I really was looking forward to IndyCar this year. And now I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, because
I mean, Honda definitely threw the gauntlet down to them and said, you guys got to get it straightened out with the motors. Mm. And they mucked around with this hybrid thing, and then now we had talked about it briefly, like they put it on kind of a kibosh for a bit, but now it's like this is unreal.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of comes down to what do they want from a series, and where do they want to go? Because I don't know.
I think. Go ahead.
My view on IndyCar, I know that up to a certain point, yes, it mirrored F1 to a degree where you are building your own car, you're advancing the technology to try and create the fastest car to go around the track. At a certain point in time, regulations stepped in and kind of stopped.
Tobacco sponsorship left.
Yeah, and stopped that, ingenuity of, or no, not ingenuity.
Free spending. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Penske was building cars.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not what it was, and it's now different where it's a spec car,
which is fine.
Yeah, but now. What do you...
It's a spec car with a choice of engine plants.
Yeah.
And, they want to go the hybrid route, which is fine. Mm-hmm. No problem there. But I think both GM and I think Honda was the one that just decided GM wasn't going to blink, so they decided to do it because... Was Penske using GM?
Yeah.
Okay. Honda's in a spot where they probably can speak up more, for the two of them. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go out on that limb and said we got to do something because the ROI on this is getting ridiculous. They're not getting back what they're putting in.
No.
And they can easily get that back in sports cars.
Yeah, and I think that kind of takes another turn of like, well, F1's going in the direction that they are. Sports cars going in the direction they are.
And Honda's like, we want to play on all three playing levels, meaning sports cars, they're going to be back in F1.
Yes, they are.
We know that.
Yeah.
And they want to play an Indycar. But the difference between the other two is there's multiple manufacturers. Cars, chassis, as well as engines. So I think this whole thing is putting a press on Penske Entertainment and B's it in IndyCar to get a third manufacturer, or potentially a third and fourth. That's my thought on it. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on it.
I don't know. I mean, I think it just kind of gets to the fact of like there's still the cloud, I guess, that hangs over it of the chassis, the same chassis they've run for the past 10 years, something like that. So are they going to change anything, or are they just going to keep iterating on this current chassis over and over again? So I think the series just needs to find its sense of direction of how it wants to handle everything, because I mean, I'll be honest, outside of the Indy 500, it's a spec series for great drivers to go to and showcase their talents. Like it doesn't. I still want to go watch the IndyCar races because I do find them entertaining.
Yep.
But what's its purpose other than the top level Formula Car series in America?
Well, North America.
Or North America. Yeah.
Nate, any takes on it?
It's just look.
I mean,
they need a third manufacturer, and
you're
the
like
whole thing is. Well, I've said not nice things about Mark Miles, about having his look. You know, I would add a third manufacturer, okay, because you kind of have a balanced look at things going forward, I think.
Yep.
I just wouldn't know what that manufacturer is. I mean, I'm taking a guess, or if Penske was maybe smart here, he would also have like Ford or Toyota come in.
Well, that's why I said 3 or 4. A third and a fourth. Because obviously, I mean, if you're going to muck around in your Ford and you're going to muck around with whoever, with Red Bull, say, is it going to be a Ford motor? We don't think it is. We think it's going to be a Ford motor badged as a Red Bull, right? I mean, it's going to be a Red Bull motor badged as a Ford. It's like, well, why don't you just go and build an IndyCar motor through Cosworth? You know?
Right. And have a team. You can have two or
well,
four.
not a team. Just you sign up a team. Yeah. Whether that's Ganassi, whoever, right? Toyota, I think they do, but I mean, I don't think they don't want to be pressured into coming in and being the third one. I think if you said you had 2 coming in and we want you as part of that too, I think they'd be more reluctant, because once you go to 4 and we got what, 20, how many cars? 24 cars? Something, 24 to 30 cars. You're looking at possibly 5 teams per manufacturer, which is a lot easier than 2 teams doing 15 cars and however many motors. I mean, it's a big ask.
Yeah.
And especially where these 2 manufacturers are doing other things. Granted, Toyota's doing other things with NASCAR and WEC. They are talking possibly coming back to Formula 1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, doesn't it seem logical if you're going to play in, if you're Honda, your GM, your Toyota, you're going to play in WEC, or you're going to play in high-level sports car, whether it's IMSA, WEC, or whatever, both at the prototype and sedan in the GT ranks. And, doesn't it make sense to, let's just cover all our gamuts and we're all going up against each other? I mean, you're not going to get Ferrari, you're not going to get Porsche, you're not going to get Audi, okay, to come in and play.
No, and you're not going to.
There was an opportunity. Porsche was here, okay.
Yeah,
and they left, okay. Ferrari, yeah, they talked about it, but I don't. I mean, the only exercise there that could happen is because Alfa Romeo dropped out. Would they come back using some type of Ferrari motor badged as an Alfa Romeo?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I think that's where it's got to go. I think I think they need to get out and start pounding the pavement and going, look, isn't it just as much? I mean, shouldn't you all be playing in all four majors or they're all? Yeah, well, it's all. Four. The only one's not playing in NASCAR right now is Honda. Toyota's playing in NASCAR.
Yeah.
If Ford comes, they're playing in NASCAR. Chevrolet's playing for GM in NASCAR. So yeah, all right. So Honda's not playing, but I mean, they're playing in Formula One. They're playing in sports cars and stuff.
Indycar.
I mean, don't forget Honda in Japan or Honda and Toyota also have their respective series in Japan. That they're taking care of as well. So
and you're also with Honda now. You're coming under this new global banner,
right? Which
is what Toyota has. So. I'm just curious if that's where they got to go with this, and I'm wondering if it's obviously, I'll guarantee you somebody if Honda talked to someone at GM and said we're going to say this, because these same conversations are going on inside GM, I'm sure.
Right. I mean it is just kind of.
But Honda can get away with it, all right? I mean, Honda can do it.
No,
GM's not going to do it because then it's GM's in a bad spot if they do it because they're Penske.
No, I get that. I just I think from
in the sense that they supply Penske.
Just getting back to my point earlier of like sports cars are like taking a direction, like they know where they want to go and how they want to do it.
Yep.
F1 is figuring it out. Like you're still trying to be the leader in technology, but obviously with how the cars are and the product that they have at hand,
at least for the next 2 years.
Yeah, they have to try and figure out something that appeases and draws more people. Because
the other thing is they got to figure a way to get more cars on the grid too.
Yeah,
we can talk about that. We can talk about this after this. I just thought this was what I was hoping to kind of talk that last
but I mean,
show.
IndyCar again. Like, I want to see the cars go faster, but what's the solution? Like, it's not that hybrid power isn't bad, but the way that it's. I mean, I guess this is where I'm kind of at a loss of like, how would hybrid power work on an oval?
Is it going to be like WEC, where it's like the hybrid car comes in on battery power, comes into the pits on battery power, leaves on battery power, and then converts over, and is it going to do some type of regeneration thing similar to what the Formula One cars do? I don't know.
Well, but on an oval, especially a high speed,
oval,
even Indy, you're not really using your brakes.
So
you don't have that regeneration.
And just one last thought on this. I mean, because obviously that brings more cost into it,
right?
I mean, even though it's a standard hybrid unit,
if they go there,
they're not the engine companies aren't, but you still got to adapt your power plant to So is it in the best interest of IndyCar to go hybrid?
Probably not.
Is it wrong that they're not? I mean, Formula One, maybe there's a differentiator. Okay, we're not using our own we're using kind of a all-encompassing chassis made by Dallara.
No,
but we're just using ICE motors, we're not using an ICE hybrid motor.
I like the idea of them, or maybe they go a different road and they play with alternative fuel.
Yeah.
Like
WEC's doing.
Yeah, try a different synthetic fuel, whatever, and then they're doing it with those tires in some way.
Yeah, they're doing the
alternate tires and street courses,
and they're doing the fuel when WEC is they're using that biofuel.
You're going spec racing, so just figure out a way to be. I guess in that
let's not be Formula E, and I don't like slamming Formula E.
No,
but Formula E has its own. Formula E And I don't. We can have this conversation another day, but I think some people fear that's where it's going, and I don't want it to.
But I don't think it is.
Yeah.
Because for as much as car companies say they're going solely electric,
but we're starting to see what's happening now.
Yeah,
the appetite for electric cars is dipped.
No, you're right.
Immensely.
But it's also I think as they're going down that path of like, is it doable? Is it really doable? It's if you push hard enough, sure, but is it worth it now? Like I don't know if the payoff is there.
I think what people are finding out is that it's an extremely expensive proposition to own an electric car.
Yeah.
All right, whether it's a Tesla or what. I mean, at the rate they're going, Tesla's going to be the only one left. Because all these other these Lucid and what's the other one, Rivian. I mean, these companies these are all on the border of bankruptcy. And I don't see somebody like the big three, like in the U.S. I don't see GM, Chrysler, Stellantis, or Ford stepping in to buy Lucid. That's not going to happen.
Well, I think it depends because it's the electric cars are in a state where all car manufacturers were when they started out. Like there's a lot of them, and they're all kind of like somewhat right now they're kind of somewhat luxury brands.
Right.
But no, Tesla is the only one that's kind of gone in the direction of trying to
kind of be the
Ford.
Oh no, or Volkswagen.
Okay.
Yeah, the car of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're obviously they're doing it, but I mean, I think people are starting to catch on, in the sense that these things ultimately, how do you dispose of batteries in a safe manner? How do you do all this stuff? Is the stuff that goes on in these factories, is it safe? It's just, there's just, like, they tout it as being environmentally clean, and it's not, Yeah,
I mean, there's pros and cons to everything.
I have no problem with a hybrid car. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
I heard a Jeep go by me the other day. Well, I shouldn't say heard, but an electric Jeep, and I just went, nah, it's not for me.
I think we're getting off topic.
No, I know, but I think I just, that kind of gets me back to the question I said, does IndyCar need to go and be hybrid? Can they just be an ICE motor series,
I mean, yeah. I mean, the F2 is just combustion. There's no hybrid in there.
Exactly.
Good, good series.
Right. No,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, is it, sports cars, you got the hybrid systems.
I mean, F2 cars, you're about as, I mean, that's, I think, more spec than IndyCar.
Yeah. F2, F3, F4, yeah.
Well, especially as the further you go down, yeah. But F2 being on the similar pace of it, yeah. I mean, if F2 is any indicator, I mean, I don't think they need hybrid power. They definitely need to find more power.
My feeling is
IndyCar, that is.
My feeling is, I think with the American racing fan or North American racing fan, I think they would prefer the two top levels here, which is obviously NASCAR and IndyCar, probably to be definitely internal combustion motors, not hybrid. God forbid if NASCAR goes hybrid, and they're talking about it. I mean,
I know,
and that
it's a thing.
That's the death of the series right there. Then once that goes, it will be.
Yeah,
because no one's. That's just not what people come to see a NASCAR race.
No, and you'll have a different crowd that comes because
right.
I mean, it's going to come because they'll be just focused on, I think, a higher. Like they already tried a higher downforce setup and like there was like backfire from it.
It's like
but
how long can I cruise around on my battery?
Yeah, then wait on a charge. Like, come on, I know it's going to be a totally different type of racing. You're right, Sean. It will be the death of the series.
That's my fear. That's my fear with IndyCar. What differentiates it, as Christian points out, is these cars going super fast on I'm not a fan of Texas, but super fast at Indy, you know.
Well, but I mean, if you just look at the history of IndyCar, kart was huge.
Yeah.
And the beginnings of IRL, just all the ovals was huge. That's clearly a market that people.
Oh
like
yeah,
to
no.
So,
even on a mile track, like when they get to Milwaukee, they're fast.
Right, and it's different because it's not another Formula Car series on road courses like they do ovals.
IndyCar is a series that tests the driver in many disciplines.
Yeah.
Okay, which is fine. And I'm just, my whole thing is, maybe do we need to be the hybrid series? Let Formula One be that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason. That's just the conversation probably would have been a little bit more fluid, say, had we been 2 weeks ago, because it was hot on everybody's mind then. But I just kind of wanted to throw it out there and talk about it. The other thing I want to talk about is, and I'm just kind of having spent, since Formula One ended, kind of catching up on some of the news and stuff that goes on with some of the drivers in the lower, trying to make their way through. And, you see somebody like Liam Lawson's got his own YouTube channel. You and I were talking about this. He's kind of chronicling what he's doing in the off season and stuff. But, I'm like sitting there and going, what is he doing this year?
This year he's Red Bull's development driver.
Yeah, right. But
he's not in a seat. Yes, I get that.
He's in the sim. He's all there. He's going to get practice days, maybe whatever. Yeah. But I'm just like, we're just seeing guys with talent just waste.
Yeah, I mean,
nowhere else but F1.
I get it. Red Bull's not going to let him go run in an IndyCar. I mean, if they're going to let him run in an IndyCar, they're going to say, you're running the road courses and street courses. That's it. You're not running anything else.
Well,
but at this point, wouldn't you want to run him in AlphaTauri anyway? Like, you already kind of give him not even the second chance.
Yeah, but with AlphaTauri, there's one hiccup there.
Yeah,
you can't move Yuki yet because he's the Honda money.
Yeah,
whatever money and help that's why he's there. I mean, Yuki's gotten better, and
he definitely
he's gotten better, but he's there because he's a Honda guy.
Yeah. I mean, again, same kind of comment with Sargent too. Like I love seeing the fact that there's an American on the grid too, but out of the class that he was in F2. I didn't think he was the one getting the ride.
No. There's other guys I thought like Jurgovich and stuff like that were in there.
Even Zhou Guanyu at Sauber.
Yeah,
I didn't think he was the one. Yeah, but again, when you have this many guys trying to compete,
but this is the thing. Like we don't. Yeah, but you got 20 seats.
Yeah. And
your F2 champion's sitting out a season and could potentially sit out 2 seasons. Like, you're doomed.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert Schwartzman is the one thing that's saving him right now is he got in with the Ferrari prototype team. Mm-hmm. Thank God they came up with that, because that's another kid who's got some talent. And, he's, I just, there's got to be a paradigm shift in Formula One in terms of, I get it. It's all about the money. Well, you know what? They come in, they buy in. All right, so fine, you're tiered. Maybe they're tiered at a certain level until they get X number of points. Maybe you're capped at, whatever they get the lower end, and then, if they come up the next year and they outperform. But
the problem I'm seeing is that it's not, these series are not what they were.
Right.
Where, because they're so big and everyone's so tied up with all the money that exists in the series to begin with, it's become very exclusive. And you either have a foot because you know someone in there or whatnot, but you're not seeing racing events where anyone shows up with a car that they built, and goes and tries to not just run the race but qualify for the race. There is no more qualifying for a race. You because if you want 20 grid spots for the race, that's fine, but say qualifying in practice is open, and you can pay your entry whatever fee to do it. But if you don't qualify for the race, you don't get in.
Yeah.
There is no more.
And it used to be like that. I mean, you go back to days, they had 30-something cars show up. They'd have pre-qualifying because the slowest 10 cars had a pre-qualify. Then they got in, and if you weren't in qualifying and there was 24 spots, the cars, if you weren't in that, didn't make it, or you were outside the 107%, you were gone. Which is the way it went.
Which I almost
happens
would like,
at Indy.
I almost would like to see this for Le Mans.
Yeah, it's getting to that point.
Regarding
the GT3 cars?
No. Yeah,
well, just the entries.
Actually, even both classes. I mean, you look at Glickenhaus, they're left out.
Yeah,
I think if they want to do what they want to do, then
they were supposedly close to a deal with an engine. And supposedly it was whoever was doing the Van Wall motor.
But I think if obviously neither one of those, I don't think either one of those teams are at the front of the field right now.
Of those teams, Glickenhaus was the more qualified team. So out of the two, what I would like to see it get back to, and I know it's not, I don't think it's going to happen, but what I'd like to see those two be able to do is go off testing, and your one big race is Le Mans. Yeah.
So then when Le Mans rolls around, you qualify, you make the field, and it gets back to kind of what Indy does, is where you bump someone else out, because then you get in on merit, and you've worked hard for it. So you're in that way. But there is no, the unfortunate thing is that there is no, bump day at Indy is special, but it's the last of its kind, I guess. I'll say.
But even that has been edited in a terrible way. It's like they'll figure out, what is it, 10th through 29th or 30th, and then they have a last row shootout, which I think is so, like, no.
Yeah, yeah, that. But just having, I guess we can argue on the setup of it, but having a bump day.
Yeah, right.
Where you either make the race or you don't is exciting, because that gets, again, like if you have a team like Glickenhaus or Van Wall where they're not part of the top manufacturers, they want to come in and run their own thing, which is why I like the Asada Fraschini car, because I want that to succeed.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think they'll be successful right off the bat, but as long as they have a good year and are competitive by the end, that's good progress for them. That's realistic goals.
Well, the same thing can be said. Your Lamborghini.
Yeah. Well, but with Lamborghini, I would put the bars a bit higher up for them.
And I think
just for expectations.
I think the one thing they're kind of kicking themselves about right now is not entering the Daytona 24 hours, because they're starting at Sebring.
Yeah.
Based on how the test went. Now, granted, but the car ran. It was in good,
Yeah.
And I think they're kind of kicking themselves a little bit, like maybe we should just ran it. Take your lump at Daytona,
but
which everyone did last year,
especially BMW.
BMW, yes.
Look where were they at the end of the year?
Right. Yeah.
Fighting for wins.
And to tell you the truth, I thought they were the team of the year because the way they fought through to the end of the season, So, I agree. It's just, again, it's kind of thinking about, stuff since the season ended, and it's going to be the same thing the end of next year. Whether they let Andretti in or not, which is
for F1.
Yeah. It's two cars. Okay. But there's six guys out there. Okay. Driving wise.
That aren't on the grid.
That could be on the grid.
Yes.
Okay. And they could be somebody could be from IndyCar. Mm-hmm. Somebody could be Super Formula. Mm-hmm. Definitely F2. I don't think anyone coming through F3 can go right too. Max has probably been the one.
Well, he was technically wasn't even F3.
It
was Euro F3.
Yeah. He's probably the exception.
Yes, but I guess that.
Piastri had to sit out a year. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and he was he's arguably the closest to Verstappen in terms of his ladder.
That's what these new or lower level teams should be, you know? And it's like, look, if you can't cut it with those teams and get the points to save the, you know, to get them the money, then you're out. Simple as that.
Well, yeah, I guess that also.
You know, I think Williams kind of took the approach, and I'm going to be honest with you, they have American ownership.
Yeah.
Okay, and they were probably like, let's give them it's probably just the blowback. Well, you didn't, like, it's always this. We don't give a driver enough chances. Okay, the chances are fine as long as you're not wrecking the car. When you start wrecking cars, that's. I mean, you put
then you're losing money.
Right.
Come on, right? Just say it, Sean.
Yeah, like, no, you're
not making money.
But Christian always puts that. What's the thing you put up?
The World Destructors.
Yeah, the World Destructors.
I like watching it.
You know what? It's not far off.
It's relevant. It's relevant.
Yeah, it's relevant. And
no, and I mean that's why Mick lost his ride.
That's exactly why Mick lost his ride, because he wrote 2 cars off and they couldn't recover from it, and they couldn't risk having that happen again. Yeah. I mean, I'm nothing against him. I'm sure they would have loved, but he wrote 2 cars off. Yeah. At least 2. He might have been. He did have a couple other wing dings, you know. But I mean, nice kid and everything. But
no, I'm definitely on the side. I think you need any driver needs 2 years in F1 to even see if you can cut it. Because again, I think the cars are that much more advanced than F2.
I think they're a pain in the ass to drive too.
They might, yeah. So really, it really does take a specialized driver to understand what it is, and it can be the same. I wish there were more onboards and analysis of just watching what the driver does during a lap, because there was one up. I think Mercedes posted the other week or whatever of George doing a lap around Qatar, and how many inputs to the steering wheel he made, whether
versus
it's
somebody else.
No, not versus any, just what he was doing. So it was whether it was gear shifts up or down, or
when he was something
brake
to do
valves,
with his, or
diff changes. Yeah. Like that's how, and that was just for the qualifying lap. So I know in a race it's a bit calmer.
Yeah.
So it's not as intense because the qualifying lap you got to get it
right. Well, that's kind of why.
But that's the input that goes on with a car to handle a car.
But if you go back to the 70s, late 70s into the 80s, up until before the paddle shift came on board, guys are driving and got to take the hand off the wheel, shift change, put the hand back on. You know, they had very few.
I think Vettel and a bunch of other drivers got asked this question in 2013.
Yeah, what did they say?
No, where the reporter is like, gentlemen, a short view into the past.
Yeah.
It goes through his whole thing, and he's like, is it more complicated or less complicated with buttons on the wheel?
What did they say?
I think it's more. I think it's very complicated. It's a mix.
It's a mix.
Yeah.
But I also think back then it's like, you know, you take your hand. I've been watching some of the old early 90 Formula 1 races lately, and like, I mean, the onboards, the guy's reaching down to his right, and then he goes over to. I mean, in IndyCar, when they do the weight jacker, it isn't a little. You're actually putting your hand on a thing, moving the weight jacker. You know, it's not an electric button.
Even watching IndyCar's onboards, a lap around Indy, is I find it fascinating to watch.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the guys are moving the weight jacker around, doing different things. I mean, it's crazy.
It's a science.
It is.
Like you got to know.
It is.
It is. And then they stop monkeying with the gurney flap on the back, and it's like Jesus. It's like 1/8 of an inch. They'll take it off. They'll put a 1/2 inch one on. It's just crazy what they do. I mean,
but that's the side of racing that I don't think IndyCar gets touched a lot. Or promoted a ton.
No,
I think
no
leaning into that kind of stuff. They're still doing all of this stuff.
There's a lot of things. The biggest thing with IndyCar is reducing friction. Is what they're all saying now, is how to make the cars. That's the biggest, and that's the biggest thing in NASCAR now is reducing friction.
Any series that goes more and more spec, the less rolling resistance. Yeah.
I mean, now we're, then Nate, let's just kind of talk the other, sort of spec series, NASCAR, right?
Right.
Well, it is. I mean,
Right.
it is, right? The Gen 3
kinda
cars.
is.
A very tightly confined box, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, you got 3 cars and they're all the same, and is it with NASCAR, do they have to kind of take the reins off the motors?
I'm not entirely sure. I think they don't even touch them. I mean, they obviously touch them, but like not in the sense where someone has a bigger advantage.
So what I'm saying is, I'm talking like no restrictor plates.
Oh goodness.
Or are these things just going to take off?
Well,
when they had like 800, 900 horsepower, they would. Now they cut.
Well,
now they're like,
yeah,
I think
that's
6 or so,
no. But then when
600 something horsepower.
Well, yeah. I mean, as the cars got a little bit lighter, that's when they started going in into the stand, into the fence. But
I haven't.
My whole thing with the restrictor plate is it just brought back the. It leads to the big one every time. That's my feeling on it.
It does. It does because
no one can get away from
escape
anybody.
anyone.
Right? You can't get away.
Yeah.
So you're going to build this other problem.
And there's the conundrum. Like IndyCar's got the conundrum with the hybrid motor, right? Do we go that route or not? NASCAR, it's like, we don't want to take the restrictor plate off, but we went the route with these cars. Mm-hmm. But the one thing with these cars, it took away the innovation.
Right.
Right.
I mean, what?
I think
An IndyCar. The IndyCar is one of the more innovative series. I would call WEC or IMSA the more innovative series.
Formula One's definitely innovative. IndyCar is the only. Christian, correct me if I'm wrong. The only place they can go unlimited or technology wise is in the dampers, right? That's open, right? The dampers are open.
The dampers are open.
Yeah. Again, that's a component of reducing, that's making your car ride as smooth as possible. So,
yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying with NASCAR, what happened when they went to this thing, did it bring some costs down? Maybe. Number of cars getting wrecked? Probably a lot more.
A lot more. Very good, Sean.
Secondly, I mean, when someone came and showed up, so like let's just take a Kelly Yarbrough showed up with the Hardy Chevrolet at Daytona. He ran the 200 mile an hour lap, got the pole and everything. In the friggin' race, 3 laps in, he's put the thing on the roof because the thing broke free on the back end.
Yeah.
Probably could have done a little more aerodynamic work maybe in the shop. But I just kind of think that's what I liked about NASCAR. I kind of like the fact that somebody got busted cheating. I don't like the fact they get busted cheating now, because now it's like, really? You're doing that?
What do you mean doing?
Well, they're monkeying around with the, putting stuff. What did Keselowski get? They were putting steel beams behind the thing so they could bump draft and then bend the thing in and stuff.
I remember that.
I don't mind any of that stuff.
No, but I'm just saying, if it was an open car, meaning like an open, you build your team builds its own cars.
Just here's the thing.
Like you used to. Up until before this Gen 3 stuff. The car tomorrow. Let's go. Let's start there. That's where this all went wrong.
Yeah, the car tomorrow is when everything started
going back.
Kind of being...
Putting a wing on a NASCAR. I mean, putting a wing on a Plymouth Superbird in 1970 was pretty cool. Putting a wing on a 2000 Chevy Impala was pretty dumb.
I like where the rules are with IMSA and WC. And, I mean, F1 to a degree is there, but I mean...
Well, F1 is dependent. I mean, F1 is that's the top technology, and I have no problem with it there.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I don't know if it's the top technology right now.
Well, I'm just throwing it out
because that's kind of it's
yeah, maybe just from the dollars spent. Maybe that's the point of view I'm looking at there.
Yeah,
but
IMSA prototype racing.
Yeah,
the rule is you can't go over this much power output.
Right. Yeah,
build whatever car you want.
Yep.
That's what you. It's there's a power and then obviously a size.
Yeah, I'm too. Just my old thing is
not.
I think not. I'm still not even thinking this year. I'm thinking next year, 2025, is when I think you're going to see DPI and hybrid, the hypercars, be
GTP and the hypercars.
Yeah, whatever they're going to be together.
Yeah,
because it takes 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, and if Toyota wins again this year, I don't want to hear about it. These guys came, they saved. I mean, they ran WEC, they brought the first hypercar. They're the ones that so they're ahead. Yeah. Good for them. I have no problem. Everyone else has got to catch up.
Porsche and Audi would be there too with them if they didn't pull up.
That was potentially two of the dumbest things that ever happened. Because Ferrari would have come. No, Ferrari would have been in sooner.
Yeah.
Ferrari was coming,
but the problem was the vision for hypercar wasn't clear at the time.
Whereas DPI was.
Yeah.
IMSA, no matter what, you can laugh at IMSA.
No, IMSA's definitely been a better job.
You can laugh at IMSA for you go back to AMS, whatever. No matter what, like when they decided that the LMP1 cars weren't right and they went all LMP2s, it was still pretty damn good. We had the Porsche Spiders and all that. Mm-hmm. And then, we had, was it Grand Am came with the DP cars?
Yep.
Because essentially that was essentially NASCAR. That was Jim France and those guys that were running that. Those cars you can laugh at them and say they look like crap and stuff, but damn, if you went and saw a race, there were 20 of them running.
Yeah.
20, we're talking 20 prototypes.
It did exactly what they
exactly. Well, I want to see 20 cars on the grid.
Yeah.
Okay, and if I got to see 20 cars and another 15 of the whatever they ran, Grand Am, whatever the Camaros and stuff that they were running.
Oh, the GS class.
GS class. Yeah. That's 35 cars.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was nonstop at Lime Rock. Mm-hmm. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean. You can laugh all you want, but all along, whether it was Grand Am, IMSA, or whatever, they were always, even going back into when you had the 935s and they went to the derivatives from the factory ones to the Kramers to the Whittington's car and then to the Paul's cars, which were crazy, and even Interscope did some crazy cars. That was all really cool stuff. Andile with their version of the Moby Dick. I mean, it was all crazy stuff, but it was all within the rules of IMSA, where you could run these wild things.
Yeah. And
here we are, and I just think, I think IMSA, I mean, I don't think there would have been this conversion if IMSA wasn't they just kind of stayed the course, which they did. Mm-hmm. And I think, I think Jim France had a lot to do with it because... Mm-hmm. He's like, look, it's best for everybody, and it is, and it's like, okay, fine. Now we're gonna. I think 2025 is when we're gonna see. That's where we're gonna see it take off.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see a Ferrari here.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yep.
I really want to see Reese run a car.
Yeah, I just want to see a Ferrari here.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Shank. I don't care who it is. I just want to see a Ferrari here.
Mm-hmm.
Or two. I'd like to see two.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of getting back. Nate,
yeah,
with NASCAR, it's what do you do to draw fans back?
See, here's what NASCAR needs to do. They've made way too many rules. And drivers are the biggest complainers of that.
Yep.
Every other interview, each season you listen to in NASCAR, there's always at least maybe 5-10 drivers that are just fed up. Will say something. The NASCAR just needs to go back to where there was way less rules. Like I don't know who said this, but there was one driver that said just rip out like half the pages of the rule book And we'll just begin there. And so, look, NASCAR, their whole thing is they need another manufacturer themselves. Like, I'd even say, like, Toyota's not even good enough to, like, fix NASCAR's problem. Like, there needs to, in NASCAR, where the box is very particular, let's call it, I would say you would need at least a fourth manufacturer. Because when it was good, there was 4 manufacturers. I mean, you could call it NASCAR, Pontiac and Chevrolet, but there was also Dodge and Ford that really had something.
You had Buick.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just talking about, like, I'm thinking of an era like 2003.
Oh, I'm going back to even before that. You had on the GM side, you had Chevrolet, you had Pontiac, you had Oldsmobile, and you had Buick. So all 4 brands. The only brand of Chevrolet that wasn't involved, the 2 brands that were not involved, and that was GMC because they did trucks, and Cadillac. So 4 of their brands were involved in NASCAR. Ford, you had Ford. No one ran a Lincoln. I mean, there was some one-offs where somebody ran a Lincoln, but you didn't do that. But with Chrysler, it was Dodge. It was Plymouth. It was Dodge and Plymouth, you know?
Yeah.
My whole thing with NASCAR is, like, it's got to make... Well, my gripe right now is I have no idea why Toyota is in there. Because
listen to you.
That car makes no sense. The Camry.
Yeah. No, it's like... It's been like that ever since they came in.
No, I know it has. But Toyota is not a stock car.
Right, I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
Like NASCAR sits there and touts himself as stock car racing.
Right.
I'm like, well, first off, like none of those cars are stock cars.
Yeah, they're not. No, they'll tell you now that a Mustang and a Camaro is because it's like big bore, whatever, and it's not. These aren't. I mean,
okay. Well, so then
and the Camaro's going away.
Even by that
it is. That's right.
That clarification.
Yeah.
If you take a Mustang and a Camaro, and a Camry, road cars off the production line.
Yeah, the Mustang and the Camaro are going to dust the Camry in about 2 seconds. I know.
So
it's ridiculous.
I don't. Yeah. That me, that makes zero sense.
That's why when people say Honda should come to NASCAR, I'm going, what are they going to bring? A Civic or a Prelude?
Right.
So it's just an Accord.
It's just dumb. Yeah, the Accord. But it's just it's again what Christian getting to is on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Whereas in prototype racing, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Toyota is definitely like out of the box on that one.
Yeah.
However, they're all taking the
but then spiral it down to the GT ranks.
Yeah. Even if again, the GT3 cars are kind of. I like the prototype. I like the prototype ladder the better because they've been told you can incorporate styling cues and whatnot.
Yeah.
But and with the
GT cars, but with the
GT3 cars, it's tough because GT3 and GT4 because it's still kind of like a mix smash of all different cars that do they really go together kind of thing, and then that gets into the you just design a car and make a car that's like kind of there and then get it.
But what I like about
BOP.
the GT ranks, just in WEC and IMSA, it's like a car you drive on the street.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my thing. And then when you get to the prototypes, it's the higher level, and that's fine with me too.
Yeah.
I mean that's why I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think NASCAR's got 2 things. I think they got to find a way to make. I don't know. The car's a little more entertaining. I think they need to. The stage racing's got to go.
Yeah, I mean,
don't remind me.
Did you send a letter to Mark Miles?
No, it's just
about stage racing.
Yeah, just I had a bit of a stroke, but I'm fine.
Do you want Jim Francis' address? You can send it to him.
I'll send a letter.
I'll send a letter.
Dearest Mr. France, how dare you?
I just those are just I don't know. It's just some things I've been kind of thinking about during this brief off season. I'm kind of
just get rid of the chase. Get rid of the
get rid of the stage racing. Get rid of the chase. Can we just pep the cars up a little bit and. I'd like
championship.
I'd like to see the teams have a little more flexibility and not having to do stupid things to cheat their way or optimize performance. Is that what it is?
No, you mean improve your chances of maybe winning?
Yeah, I don't know. Just things like that. I don't. Whatever. But anyways, all right, Nate, you want to catch us up on your own racing activity?
Oh. Gosh, yes, that's right. So the Touring Kart Championship has done two rounds. There's a 4-race schedule. I'm sorry, 6-race schedule. Getting ahead of myself. There's 4 races left of the season. And so the first race was a 3-hour race at the Extreme Zone in Wilmington, Delaware. And I was paired up with Augusto Fontes, who was the reigning series champion in the summer series. So we were paired up, and we split it between us. We had to do, I want to say, it was like 11 or something pit stops. It was pretty crazy, like a large amount for the short amount of time we were doing. But anyway, so we were going through the order. I had the bright idea to pit us early. But Sean, get this. There was moisture that was coming up on the track, and everyone was kind of going extra slow. And then as everyone went around it, it was actually even making the track wetter. So we were dealing with that for about an hour and a half. And, we did... Where were we? We were like 10th, but moving our way up the order. And so once the track dried, we were putting some really decent lap times, and then we ended up finishing 5th. And so we were pretty happy with that. I forget who won. But anyway, so that was a fun time at Extreme Zone. And then the more recent round was the New Year's Eve Grand Prix at Foxwoods. Now, this one was pretty intense. It was like a regular round. There was practice and qualifying, pre-final, and then a last chance qualifier, which I didn't have to worry about. Sean. So with this one, I qualified 5th in my group. There's 2 groups in qualifying. And so it was divided up 14 and 14. And so I qualified 5th in my group and fell back a spot and was able to... No, I was battling with Brenna Schubert, and she was really trying to get by me. And so finally enough, I could see where I wasn't going to get outside looking to get into the A main. And so what ended up happening was I did let her by. And she went by, and then there was one more person that we were catching up to, and I sent it on the last lap to finish 5th on this guy. And so I ended up being because where we finished in our group, the fastest person was in the other half. So what that means is I'm in the even row or even column. So I started 10th, moved my way up to 6th, and it was a pretty good start. I was following Brenna through a lot of it, and Karsten Cole, who ended up winning the thing. But anyway, we were catching up to 2 other drivers, And she ended up, I guess, going way inside and followed fourth place. And all three of them spun out. And around the outside comes yours truly to grab third. And I was losing my mind. I was just like, oh, this is amazing.
Biggest mover of the race.
Biggest move of the race, yes. Yeah.
And then
Here
what
we are,
happened?
so.
You finished fifth?
And then I finished third. No, I don't have. Listen. These are good stories I tell Sean. These are
No. He finished as the Scott Goodyear to Scott Goodyear.
He lucked out. Essentially lucked out that the other three didn't.
I don't know what the points look like, but I could be the points leader. Who knows?
Right, but
or you could be sitting pretty in second.
Or
oh, jeez, listen to you.
Or you could actually make passes during the race.
I did make some passes. Like I went from 10 to 6. I got skills that kill.
10th
That's good. I should be a poet.
10th to 6th, and the other three don't wipe them out. That means you finish 6th.
With a great net gain, right, Sean? So that's what I look at. I'm all about results.
We'd like to have podium finishes here, Nate.
I
did
finished
bring up
third. That's a podium. See, so
default.
it makes sense why it makes sense I'm on this podcast.
At least he didn't finish 3 of 3 or 3 of 2.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. You finished third in a 3-man race.
Oh my god.
Hey! Well, I finished 1 of 1 in.
Oh yeah,
that's
right. Yeah, Jesus, hell's bells. Wow.
Hey, one of the rounds is coming into R1 pretty soon, so
I know that's
near you.
End of January.
So
speaking of R1,
the next round is in GPNY, and so I'll be. What is that? January 14th. So that'll be soon.
What about R1?
Is the Hemingway series happening?
I was talking to Nate about that earlier today.
Yes.
I need to reach out to him and see if we're still doing that.
Yeah.
I really want that to happen.
Yeah.
Did you call it the Hemingway series?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Rich is running it. Rich set it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
He set it up. So. Yeah. But it would be fun to see
kind of cool. Yeah.
back together.
Yeah. Chris Catalano was like, "You gonna run?" I'm like, no.
Probably show up.
Come on, Sean.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Show up.
Be the Grand Marshal.
No.
No.
I'll go.
But you could be the Grand Marshal.
I'll go and I'll watch like Freddie and Mike Kamara and those guys. Like everyone get into each other. Should be entertaining.
Yeah. Well, and R1 just revamped their track. They added a second level.
Did they?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of basic. I think you just basically it's.
I think Rich is going to have more.
You go up the ramp, turn right, turn right,
a lot more people
down
on
the hill.
this.
I think, but
you might have to do kind of a light and heavyweight class.
oh, if he's got that many people, that'd be wild.
Sean,
no,
come on, join us in heavyweight.
No, as much as
a lightweight.
as much as I'd like to, Nate, I'm not.
I got you.
Not there.
I got you. No worries. Hey,
Not there.
I think I think the best one.
I mean, I hung with everybody at Indianapolis. I did all right.
Oh yeah,
I did okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just
it's Sarah Fisher's place.
Yeah, I just haven't. It was when we were going to
That's a great place.
When we were going to F1, and I'm going up there 4 times a week. It was awesome. It's just I didn't. Once COVID came and I lost all that, it was like, forget it.
The amount of time we spent there.
Yeah, well, I did the open nights in 2 leagues.
There was some days we were there 5 out of 7 days of the week.
Yeah. Sometimes we were there, and then we came back 6 hours later.
Yeah.
Cup nights.
Oh yeah, but then we had you guys involved in the crew races.
Yeah.
Jeez.
After hours. Didn't you, Nate? You were in one of those, weren't you?
One.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah, you were.
It was gnarly.
Yeah, it was fun. But anyways, all right.
What's that place?
Well,
I'd say
we I think we started the season off. Kind of we're still in the doldrums.
Yeah.
And that, but I think news will be starting to pick up.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think there are a bunch of car.
We got F1 car launches coming. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's February, which has a lot.
And we still have open seats in IndyCar. Is that correct?
Yes.
Like, I don't know who's running that coin, right?
Coin? No. I know Stingray Rob's at Foyt and Peterson is at...
Or are they in the same car together? Are they driving a two-seater?
News for next week.
Yeah, news for next week. But anyways. All right, Nate?
Good night.
Thank you guys for listening to the Red Mix Podcast, hosted by Christian Abbott, Sean Abbott, and Nathan Lavin. It's produced by Christian Abbott, and music is by Alex Wart and Harrison Tate.